The button has been pressed. Hello, haters. It's been a long time since I haven't done it, so I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous. When I just started this vlog, it was in 2017, and I went to Sudan, which was crazy, and I thought, okay, that would be so fun to document it. But of course, my biggest fear was that no one will watch it, no one will be interested. Or people would say, who does she think she is to be making vlogs about what? And I think that's the hardest thing. Before you found your niche, you're trying, you're experimenting, but you're not sure what exactly it's going to turn into yet. And this fear of what people think about you, that's exactly what I want to talk about today. The four walls of this flat hurt so much for me already that I decided it's better to start recording videos, because this flat is already tired of me. Before I started my channel, I told my friend, well, what if nobody will care to watch it? And he told me, don't worry that they won't watch it. You should start worrying when suddenly everyone starts watching it. The woman that I admire very much is Brene Brown. If you don't know her, check her out. She's a TED speaker. She wrote a couple of interesting books. Some of them are about shame, and her most famous one, I think, as well as her TED Talk, is about vulnerability. And she has this really great saying that there is a vulnerability paradox. Being vulnerable is the first thing that I'm looking in you, but the last thing I'm open to show to you. Which I think is very true, because when you know what other person is vulnerable with, you feel some sort of power, like you know their weak spot. And unfortunately, vulnerability is exactly what people connect it to, like, okay, someone's being vulnerable means someone's being weak. Whereas I think vulnerability is things that you care for, and that's something that actually should be treasured instead of punished or looked at as something bad in a person.
I have a vulnerability issue, and I know that vulnerability is kind of the core of shame and fear and our struggle for worthiness, but it appears that it's also the birthplace of joy, of creativity, of belonging, of love.
I remember when I was at school, I think it was 7th and 8th grade, the teacher gave us an assignment to imagine that you're alone on an island, and whether as a human being you would be able to survive that, whether you would be able to go ahead and make a living out of that. And obviously the assignment was about how social human beings are, and I remember, I don't know why, I'm a stubborn person, so I wrote like a really long essay where I was just talking about how actually I'll be okay, I'll survive on my own. And then some years after, I submitted the work, and the teacher told me, yeah, you've got some good points. But some years after, I realized that all that I wrote is actually, I'm not sure about anymore, because I'm a very extroverted person, and indeed I will be the one who loses their mind first, just being on my own. And that's an interesting point, because I think from there, I started to think how dependent I'm on other people, and I think all of us are, and often we are scared of that. But on the other hand, it's you and your internal world that's very important, and in times like quarantine, like right now, it's actually a good way to test how entertained you are by your own self. The society tells us that we have to be productive, that we have to work out, that we have to read the books we haven't read, that we have to watch all the movies. Well, basically we have to become superhumans. Before, it was requiring us to be superhumans when we are outside doing things. And now, the moment when it's like real pandemic, again, it's saying, be cool, be fun, be the best you can be. And am I the only one who's finding this super tiring? People who say, oh, if you always look for people, if you always seek validation, then you must be a boring person. I think this statement is really taken to the extreme, because I think we all to some extent need a company. And imagine if someone puts you on this island all by yourself. I don't think it's healthy conditions. Even if you're the most interesting person in the world, or you think so, at some point your resource is gonna dry and you will not find what to do with your life, which I think is absolutely normal. They can be like a room full of people, and all people can admire and love you, but there is this one person that listens to you and has a smirk on their face or disapproval look, and who you're gonna remember in the end? The funny thing is that, of course, you're gonna remember that one mean person. And what our brain does sometimes, and I have experienced it on numerous occasions, sometimes I even chose to see that person in the crowd, even if this person was not at the particular event where I was speaking, or this person was not in the room, yet it's still in my mind, this person is listening to me. And of course with the vlog, it's taking it to the next level, because I'm sure there are people that like me and would like to watch and listen to this and feel about me as like in warm, nice ways. And then there are, of course, people who maybe don't like me, and they're gonna watch it, and I'm already thinking like, okay, so what will this person think? What will they say? Maybe they send this video to someone. I think this actually happened to me at the very first vlog that I created. I was really self-conscious and I was really afraid of bad comments, even though I said, no, it's okay, but of course I was. Who wouldn't be? And then a colleague of mine at work, she told me that another colleague watched it, and apparently he asked her, by the way, why did Katerina not have any makeup on? I was like, what? This whole question just kind of, either the person meant like, oh, she didn't have any makeup on, so she didn't make any effort to make a vlog. Nice. And another thought was, well, maybe she looks nice, but I don't know what it meant. But the thing is, when you start thinking about all of this, and this kind of noise gets in your head, that's when you know, as funny as it sounds, even if it's like some trivial comment someone made, that's when you know that you have to work on it, and you cannot let this noise get inside of you. I don't believe people who say that they don't care what others think of them. Of course, I'm not $100 bill. Neither I am this beautiful tulip that you can admire throughout this video. But I do think that, yeah, it's like this idea that, yeah, just don't care, just go on with your life. Of course, it's easier said than done. But ultimately, you do want to reach that internal feeling that you work on your self-confidence, on loving yourself. And a lot of people probably misunderstand what loving themselves mean. Some replace it by shopping, by food, and I don't have anything against neither of those. But I think self-love is really understanding that there would always be those people with their opinions, and you can't please everyone, and that's also okay. But on the other hand, continuing this train of thought, I think what sometimes resonates with us is the thing that we feel most weak about. So if people in the comments will write me that I have an ugly hair, I don't think that's really going to resonate with me, because I don't feel that way. And even if someone does think so, it's not going to really affect me on a deep personal level. I'm just going to brush that thought away, and I'm just going to say, well, this is the person, they have their right to think so. Whereas if it's something that really personally hurts me, that's probably going to have a bigger impact on me. For example, when I was a kid, I had a very, very big complex about my ears. And now I'm going to show you my ears. I don't think anything is wrong with them in particular. But when I was a child, one of the adults around me, and I'm not going to name who that was, even suggested that I use the tape, because proportionally to my head, my ears were much bigger. And of course I knew all about the surgeries, how you can fix it, and so on and so forth. And at the moment it seemed like a normal thing to do. And I'm glad that now the times have changed, and we live in the times of much bigger self-acceptance and just being who you are. And now I think, thank God I didn't listen to those people. You know, I have grown, my ears have become much more normal. But even if they didn't, in the end of the day, it's really ears. Come on, guys. Like, why would you like make a surgery and go to those extremes? And this is like a silly example, but I remember it still bothered me for most of my childhood. And when I was already in college, one guy also made a comment about it, said something like, wow, like you really have huge ears. And I remember at that moment, it partly hurt me, but on the other hand, I was thinking, well, yeah, I have big ears, so what? That's not like the worst problem a human can have. So I think at that stage, I already overcame that fear about that. Yet I think at different parts of our lives, we have still different insecurities, and they still exist, and that's something that's good to understand. As a woman, I'm so used to this societal public scrutiny to all the time think about how do I look, that it just becomes part of your skin almost. It becomes normal to constantly care, to constantly worry. And actually, those are two different things. I think it's normal to care what people think. Also to differentiate strangers from people you care for, and when you ask their opinion, they say it and you care for what they say. That's one instance. And then of course there is a second one, which is not so healthy, when instead of caring, you're just worrying all the time. And sometimes you create fear out of nothing, and you just spin it in your head. It's like an eternal circle of thinking, worrying. What if I wear a short skirt? I'm gonna look inappropriate. If I'm gonna wear a long one, that's also not fitting. I think Cynthia Nyxon recently has recorded an excellent video about how the woman basically can't fit into any box.
You're too dressed up. You're too dressed down. You look like you've let yourself go. Be a lady, they said. Don't be too fat. Don't be too thin. Eat up. Slim down. Stop eating so much. Order a salad. Don't eat carbs. Skip dessert. Go on a diet. God, you look like a skeleton.
That's just crazy. But I think it also applies not just for women, but to human beings in general, to minority groups. And guys, this is really hard. Why we care so much what others think is because our society sends us messages which are conflicted and which are unclear. They create these messages with lots of dichotomy in them. So one message is be yourself, be who you are. The person who loves you gonna love and accept you the way you are. And on the other hand, we all know that it's not true, because there are so many transformative courses, so many things that you have to do to get where you want to be. So which one is true? Who do I choose, myself or the better version of myself, a beautiful version of myself, a blossoming version of myself? And this gets very confusing. Of course, maybe the ultimate message of changing yourself for better is becoming better. But I think no one is ever at the right place to tell us what we have to do to change ourselves. Because again, this change has to come not because of what others think of you, but because you internally feel the urge, or you're curious to try certain things, or you just want to experiment, to evolve yourself. But it should never be imposed on you as like a thing that stop being yourself, be this, because this is what's trending now. And nowadays we see lots of examples, I don't know, like so ridiculous examples. There was this TikTok influencer, which some people say don't call them influencers anymore, who didn't believe in coronavirus. So he went around and he leaked public toilets, which is just like, you know, no one has words for that, because this is ridiculous. And this is whatever trends you follow, this is just not normal. And this is sad that some people feel like they have to do it to prove something, or maybe to get crazy views numbers, or to validate themselves through everyone else's opinion. Ultimately, this guy has got a coronavirus, but yeah, you don't know how to feel about it. I don't feel like he deserved it. I just feel like he was this victim of trying to impress others for no reason. I record this, and obviously I know that I'm planning on publishing it. So if I say that it doesn't affect me what others would think about it, I would be lying. Of course I do. Of course I'm interested. And this vlog I consider like a therapy, like a form of self-expression. So in a way I'm curious to read the comments, but I think what I'm currently working on and what this whole message is about is that it's okay to feel bad, but if it gets to the core of you, if it really destroys the idea of who you are, that's when the problem is happening. Most of the people, and I'm sure you have heard it, they don't even think about you. So all of this is really happening in your head. Okay, maybe someone thinks for a minute about what you did. Even if you messed up, someone says, oh yeah, well, she messed up. How I think about someone's messing up. Do I sit on this idea of like, oh, the person was humiliated, how fun that was? I don't think so. I'm actually, in most cases, I'm feeling empathy and I'm feeling sorry for those people. So why would anyone else be different? Of course, we know there are different people and some of them might have not such kind thoughts, and we all can be not kind 100% of the time. But in general, I don't think really people think about it as much as we want them to. And I really like animals, and that's one of the reasons why I love interacting with them, is because I think they're the creatures that really don't care. And recently, during this self-isolation time, I found an example of one extraordinary cat that I don't think could care less about the others. So I just let you watch him or her. I believe it's a him, I don't know why. But I let you watch this amazing royal cat in my vlog.
The button has been pressed. Hello, haters. This is my main hater. He might look very sweet and peaceful and white and cuddly, but he's also a little bit of a hater. Meow. Look, I'm doing this procedure and he seems to be enjoying. It's better than massage.
I just started reading this book. I don't know if you can read the title. Well, yeah, I cannot read it because I'm facing it to the camera, but you can. And yeah, the subtle art of not giving up. I'm not gonna say this. But yeah, I just started on it and I heard a lot of good reviews. And what the author is saying is that you and everyone else are gonna be dead soon. And as much as we don't want to think about it, sometimes it is a relief thought in a way, because if you do want to do something, do it on your own terms. Don't be pushed by the society who tells you when and timing you and tells you, well, it's quarantine time, so start doing everything you ever wanted to right now. Don't. But if you ever wanted to do something, don't be afraid, because I think most of the monsters live in our head. And sometimes I read this somewhere and I quite liked it, that by worrying you choose to suffer twice, because if something bad happens you suffer, but sometimes you worry even before it happened. So it's time to do what you like, and here is what I've been doing. So if you liked some of my thoughts, subscribe, comment, I would really appreciate. And yeah, more to come. Bye bye.